short story, The Telltale Heart. I'm just going to give some tips and tricks and then I'll show you my response. Okay, so always, after you've read a text and you don't understand a word or some of the vocabulary in there, you need to go and learn it, especially if you're a big reader or, anyone really. You should be learning new vocabulary and probably jotting it down in a book somewhere. What I do is on my phone, I have a vocabulary list and I just list some words down there. Okay, till this day, I have over 100 words there that I add to daily, okay? Because I'm a big reader and I find words even to this day that I probably forget or they're new to me. So before you can successfully analyze language in any text, you need to first ensure that you have understood what you read. Vocabulary, phrases, meaning, the themes, everything, okay? Now, I'm not going to obviously go through this. I'm going to go straight to the analysis because we've already read this. Okay. All right, so after any reading, look at the first impressions of the narrator, okay? Or the subject matter or the character. So obviously the narrator seems to be quite mad, okay? Despite saying that he's not, and he mentions having a disease, which has sharpened his senses and having a heightened sense of hearing, it leads the reader to infer that the narrator is potentially psychotic. Okay, so he goes through hallucinations, delusions, and he has confused and disturbing thoughts. Now, these are some ideas that you probably would have talked about in your response. Okay, just by focusing on maybe one or two of them, you could have a tightened analysis on the representation of madness. Okay, don't go talking about everything at once. Just focus on a few things. Okay, that's just some of his fixations and what he's doing. And he for 7 long nights he keeps going to the old man's room, poking his head through enough to shine a single thin ray. Okay, so he has this fixation with this old man. Okay, now how to analyze language. Obviously understand the text you are analyzing. Read the question carefully and underline the key focus. Okay, the question's on the next slide. Select the best quotations, okay, that answers the question from the text. You must be doing this before you write. You then need to identify techniques used by the writer. It could be linguistic devices such as simile, metaphor, the connotations, the semantic fields, the personification, the hyperbole, etc. It could be a particular word choice that the writer has used, the diction, okay? Adjective, verb, noun, adverb. It could also be punctuation or structural, which I have looked at, okay? And this narrator in particular, if you've noticed, uses a lot of M dashes. Oop, I spelled it wrong. My bad. M dashes, rhetoricals. Okay, so there's a string of interrogative sentences. It could do with the form itself, short story form. Stream of consciousness is a big one. Oh, how do I spell this? Okay. Huge one. A lot of you guys use this already. You then need to explain the impact of these choices by the writer and how this links to the question you are being asked. Now, a lot of you brought in the audience. You don't always need to involve the audience response. Okay, and if you do intend on doing that, don't let it be the base analysis. Obviously, reader response is important, right? The reader response, which is a theory. But don't kind of frame it as like this makes the audience feel. Don't do that. That is very weak analysis. It's just not good, and that's not what the question's asking anyway. The question's not asking you, how does it make people feel? No. You can infer, so you make inferences. You can say, this creates a sense of, or this evokes, okay? Don't say this makes. Don't focus on reader response. And this is the question. How does Poe represent the protagonist's madness? Key word is madness. Key word is represent. Theme is madness. Representation is asking you, How is it represented? In what way? So you tell me the how, technique, and in what manner, what ways? So how is it achieved through the technique, and what is it showing us? Okay? Now, what I like to do, I like to have a good topic sentence that is very, very focused and gives me a sense of direction. So, descent into madness is characterized by a growing sense of paranoia, distorting one's ability to discern reality. Now, my focus is paranoia. Okay? Poe constructs madness through his unreliable narrator, where his rhetorical questioning in his mind alludes to his unstable state. But why will you say that I am mad? And then I did the followed by, how then am I mad? His unstable state is reinforced, so I am layering. What I've done there is I layered my ideas and analysis with the technique. With the dramatic use of M dashes, so I gave it a purpose with the M dashes, mirroring the protagonist's inability to trust his own judgment. It grew louder, louder, louder. I felt that I must scream or die. His hallucinations, coupled by his troubled thoughts, characterize his manners as that of paranoia, where he hears a beating that only gets louder. Do you see that snowballing there? Good. I'm not explaining here, okay? I'm analyzing the madness. A lot of you guys were explaining. Cannot do this in a response like that. Every sentence, okay, that you write must be meaningful. It should also be accounted for. You can't just forget about it. Don't just write sentences for the sake of writing them. The auditory imagery intensifies the eerie atmosphere, emphasizing that his madness is not only unsettling, but also spiraling. See? I brought in the reader response, by the way, without saying this makes the reader unsettled, but also spiraling beyond his control. In the story's falling action, now this is where I've added awareness of the short story form, which is good, to be honest. I find it really good. His paranoia culminates in complete delusion, rendering both him and the reader uncertain of reality. They heard, they suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. Now, I didn't have a linking statement here. I suppose you guys know how to do this. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, that's my